Finally, after all this time, the Indian Premier League is back as players around the world set to take part in the world's biggest T20 stage. Despite being under 2 decades old, the IPL fever has infiltrated globally, and as a result, some of the biggest IPL teams have bought stakes in teams from other T20 franchises. But with that being said, what are with these team names? Okay. Imagine you're a young soccer fan from Chicago. Your favorite team is not the Chicago Fire, with their logo representing the iconic Chicago flag. It's instead Bayern Munich Chicago. It's a badge with a Bavarian crest. You don't utter a word of German. You've never seen Munich in the flesh, just street view. The owners are a syndicate of German car companies, yet this is your team. Or you're a Japanese baseball fan living on the island of Hokkaido, and in the summer, you're at the park cheering for the Hokkaido Yankees. You're forced to wear the same cap insignia as the Yankees, the same navy pinstripes. The T20 cricket, more specifically franchise cricket, has an identity crisis. From South Africa to the States, leagues just don't have standalone teams with a true regional identity. Now, you might argue these teams win trophy after trophy, and sure, being named MI does wonders, but the problem is that these teams are simply copy and paste. Mumbai Indians, Cape Town, LA Knight Riders, Sunrisers Leeds. Sunrisers Leeds! You can't make this up. Many of these teams' names don't even make sense. In fact, they alienate the very people that they're trying to serve. Texas Super Kings, really? I understand that team names are extremely adjustable. They don't have to necessarily represent the culture of which they are from. But Texas Super Kings, why not Texas Outlaws or Texas Spades? They're merely colonial outposts owned from a team whose offices are thousands of miles away. And we have to ask ourselves, when did this all begin? It all started in 2015 when the Kolkata Knight Riders bought a stake in the CPL team Trinbago Red Steel. The name fit. Trinidad has historically been one of the largest steel producers, and making the team name Red Steel added a patriotic touch. Then in 2016 the team name changed. Nothing much happened, but then in 2021 2 other CPL team names changed. Then in 2023 the SA20 launched and all the teams were owned by the IPL. Then the International T20 and MLC launched and they had half of their teams owned by the IPL. And now here we are today. Speaking of the SA20, I watched a bit of the SA20 recently. The talent they had amazed me. A slew of world-class players at every turn and crowds showing up in the tens of thousands. But that being said, the experience was hollow because all these teams were IPL teams. There's no RCB team, so rooting for one would be like rooting for another IPL team. The Big Bash League, on the other hand, despite having a significantly shallower talent pool, at least had regional identity and pride. The names are original. They haven't been borrowed by any other league. And wait, what? Now, I'd be lying if I didn't say I want RCB to expand, potentially landing a branch in Chicago. And perhaps it's the reason why I don't like this, because RCB hasn't joined the colonial team grab. But even then, I don't feel quite right about this erasure of local identity and the forcing of a new brand. In the end, sports aren't just about the gameplay of itself. It's about the us versus them mentality. Though it's harder to see that when the insignia belongs to a fan base in another continent. Though I will end on a lighter note. Even in this monopoly, there still remains original teams with grassroots fan base. 3 out of the 6 MLC teams are original. The CPL still has original teams, and these teams prove that you don't need a parent company to have a soul or a winning team for that matter. Even if the Big Bash eventually gets carved up like tandoori chicken, teams like the Perth Scorchers will persist. In the end, I'm glad the IPL is reaching heights it could have dreamed of just a decade ago. I want the hard-earned money to go towards the players who deserve it, but at the same time, teams don't need IPL branding to win a championship.
6 of the best in the West. A half